We're all going to be supermen living inside of Matrix-like environments, but it's not going to be a prison. It's going to be our ultimate liberation. We will be the gods that we have invented.
So, as computer power doubles every 18 months, it means that every aspect of our life, finance, commerce, health, is going to be turned upside down as we begin to realize that computer power can enrich our lives. This is the world's first bladder, a human bladder that was grown from a young girl's own cells and implanted into that young woman. That was 3 years ago, a development at Wake Forest University where we taped changed history. And within 5 years, we hope to have the first pancreas, the first liver, perhaps even the first kidney. These are the frontier organs that are now being looked at to be grown in the laboratory.
They've got to tell people.
Tell them what?
Soylent Green is made out of people.
The first windpipe was grown just 3 months ago, and in mice, we actually grew an entire heart. An entire mouse heart was grown just last year. And how is it possible? Because computer power means that we can sequence genes, we can put doctors in touch with each other. It has accelerated medical advances.
Changed now that we've actually, first of all, uncovered the software of life. The genome is basically little software programs that not only influence but actually is the reality of biology. Biology is a software process, and we have software running inside us. I mean, how often do you go without updating the software on your cell phone? It does it automatically. This is probably updating itself now as I speak, but I am walking around with outdated software that evolved thousands of years ago when conditions were very different. I would like to tell my fat insulin receptor gene, you don't need to hold on to every calorie anymore. I mean, that was a good idea 1,000 years ago. You worked all day to get a few calories. There were no refrigerators. So you stored them in the fat cells of your body. That was a good idea. That now underlies an epidemic of obesity. The Joslin Diabetes Center near where I work in Boston, and I know the researchers, turned that gene off. We have means now of turning genes off with RNA interference, for example. And these animals ate ravenously and remained slim.
Thanks for everything, Jack. It was great. Especially those last 12 pies.
And they didn't get diabetes, they didn't get heart disease, they lived 20% longer, they got the health benefits of caloric restriction while doing the opposite, and they're working with a drug company to bring that to the human market. That's just one of the 23,000 genes we'd like to tinker with. The scientific community is growing artificial organs, new kidneys, livers, lungs. In fact, this company that's doing this gene therapy treatment is also growing new lungs from stem cells. The idea, though, is that health and medicine has become an information technology because we're reprogramming the software of life. But ultimately, it will go inside. We will expand these 300 million pattern recognizers because we will be able to actually recreate them functionally to do exactly what they do in our brain and learn, and quantity results in a different quality. So a ape or a chimpanzee is close to a human.
Do you realize what that means? No. Emasculation to begin with. Then experimental surgery on the speech centers, on the brain. And a kind of living death.
But doesn't have as much neocortex, as we do, particularly because of our frontal cortex, that additional quantity resulted in the qualitative leap of philosophy and language and art and science and technology. So when we expanded it again, which is what I think we will do, we can't even describe what that next qualitative leap will be. I mean, cortex, and we'll do it directly from the brain, and it will be in the cloud because that's where all interesting things happen. I mean, even if you use a mobile device to translate, to search, for something like Siri, it's not done in the phone. It's done out in the cloud. And so that's, we will expand our brains into the cloud.
But for my 2 cents worth, John, I think you put your finger right on it. For them, humanity is a malleable thing. It's something that they can mold and shape and twist and stretch into any shape that they want. And again, they're not really concerned ultimately with what it means to be human in the sense that you and I would use it. What they're aiming at is, as we said in the first segment, they're aiming at this total transformation of human consciousness, and they can remake that into anything that they want it to be as well. So yeah, definitely they view it as something malleable.
Inventor Ray Kurzweil thinks that one day humans may be able to live forever.
I want to live as long as I can. I don't want to die. If following Ray's regimen would put that day off, I would be very willing to do that.
I knew there was a reason I was keeping all this stuff, and he kept all this stuff. I do plan to bring back my father.
Ray Kurzweil has been given the gift of an incredible brain, and he uses it in the way that I think it should, for the betterment of mankind. I asked him how long is he going to live, which he won't answer that question, but he does say, I'm not going to age from this moment on.
Now, a motor protein it's a protein. It's not alive. It is just a large molecule. But it is the lorry of the cell. There are thousands and thousands of motor proteins running around in your cells right now. Trillions upon trillions of them, because you have maybe 100 trillion cells, and each one of them has thousands of motor proteins in it. So there's a lot of these little robots running around inside you. They're not alive. They do not have free will. They are just robots, micro-robots, nano-robots. I raise this because of my slogan, which I want to draw to your attention. I got this from an Italian interviewer, actually philosopher Giulio Girello, a wonderful Italian philosopher, journalist. He interviewed me some years ago, 10 years ago. And I don't know if he's responsible for the article's headline when it came out the next day, but I love it. Sì, abbiamo un'anima, ma è fatta di tanti piccoli robot. Yes, we have a soul, but it's made of lots of tiny robots.
Where have all the good men gone, and where are all the gods? Where's the streetwise herd?
And that is my view. Yes, we have a soul. That is to say, we have the wherewithal for moral responsibility. The thing that we've got is what justifies our being praised and blamed. It's what gives us moral responsibility. It's what gives us free will. And it's made of lots of tiny robots.
He has used the gift that he was given for the betterment of humankind. That's what I mean.
You believe in things you don't understand, and you suffer.
red blood cells that can actually keep us oxygenated for hours, even if we have a heart attack. We'll have robotic white blood cells, which I mentioned, which can destroy cancer. And these devices will go through and repair every cell in our body from disease before it becomes life-threatening.
So these are little blood cell-sized robots that will inject into us, correct?
Right, and they have computers in them. They're smart. They'll be on the internet. We can download new software. So some new disease comes along that we never saw before, we'll actually be able to download new software so that it can combat it. So we will become a hybrid of both biological and non-biological intelligence. Well, some of these will go in our brain, interact with our biological neurons and make us smarter, put our brains on the internet, provide full immersion virtual reality from within the nervous system. So these are just a few of the applications.
So this is true life extension because it's restoration versus the deterioration that we're now experiencing.